Look, disappointing game. Disappointing game. We came out, we started fast. What I would say is, look, we're a soft football team across the board.
That's it right there. Patriots. Now 1-6 on the year, falling 32-16 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 1-5 themselves, a lame duck team, a coach ready to get fired, just looking to get out of London with the win. The worst pass defense in the NFL. 32-16, the final, and you hear right there from Jerod Mayo calling the Patriots a soft football team. And Trav, he's not wrong.
He's right, George. He is right. And you know what? It's a lot of blame game going on up there with Jerod Mayo at the podium these days. I just wonder if he's pointing at himself as much as he should, because Lord knows, George, he is pointing at everyone else.
Look, it's after we saw a Texans team with the running backs average 8 yards per carry last week.
Yeah.
The Jaguars, really led by Tanks Bigsby, 118 yards on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns, but themselves tacking on 171 yards on the ground as well, and ended the game running the ball 24 of 25 plays. Just literally said, we're going to keep running the ball down your throat. Even after getting stopped on 4th and short by running the ball, they went back to it because they knew they were better, the Patriots, that way. And that's what it's become. This is a team where the calling card was supposed to be running the ball and win with defense. That's what they did week 1 against Cincinnati.
Yes.
And we've said it the last few weeks. This team is no semblance of that one. But the worst thing possible for a head coach that says I would never be a repeat offender, this team has gotten worse and worse by the week. The one thing you can give them is they only allowed 32 points. Well, really, the defense didn't allow 32 because, of course, 7 of that came off a punt return touchdown.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, 41 was a total let up last week, 32 this week. But this offense, again, no semblance of a run game.
No.
7th different starting offensive line we've seen through 7 games. And Drake May, we'll get to him, again, took steps forward, looked in command, was awesome. With no turnovers this week, which is a huge step for the rookie. But all in all, Trav,
Yep.
this team with Drake May, who gives a huge boost to the offense, is nowhere closer to winning games and being competitive.
Listen, I was wrong in the outcome of the game. I thought the Patriots would win this. But I think I was right in game script. If you can remember, when we were breaking this game down all week long, I said if Tank Bigsby has a big game, that's advantage Patriots in the sense of you have to limit the big plays from Trevor Lawrence in the passing game. You remember that breakdown, George? And I said this Bigsby guy could go off and the Patriots could still win the game. In theory, I should have been right because I thought they did a pretty good job in terms of the big play, negating the big play. We know Bigsby was a monster, 26 carries, $118, 2 touchdowns. But in the end, that punt return was the big play. It didn't necessarily come from Trevor Lawrence like I thought. I was talking more about in the passing game, limit the big passing plays, to Brian Thomas Jr. and otherwise. But that punt return, I think, was a backbreaker and was a big play that I didn't see coming. I keep hearkening back to this, and I'm wrong every week. I keep assuming the defense is going to show up. I keep assuming the special teams is going to be solid. I keep assuming penalties won't kill this team, and it's just the offense that needs to step up. I'm not going to make that mistake anymore moving forward, George. I think by doing that, I'm giving Jerod Mayo and his coaching staff too much damn credit. The reality is they can't get anything right, George. Offensively, defensively, special teams. Now he's calling teams soft. We're going to talk about other players lashing out in social media, so on and so forth. So this is a mess, George. I will not make the mistake of picking the Patriots again this season. That's it. 1 win, finito, baby. And I think there's going to be changes at the top.
You said, remember last week we go back 1 week?
Yeah.
Well, let's go through the schedule, see what they win, what they lose. This is a Jaguars team that came in and said, with our running backs alone, we're going to run the ball 35 times and only have Trevor Lawrence drop back and pass it 20.
Right.
By the way, Trevor Lawrence, with him and Brian Thomas Jr., who are having big explosive plays against this bad secondary, which we've seen time and time again.
That's right.
3 different wide receivers with an explosive reception. Brian Thomas Jr. was great in the flashes, but after that one big catch, he will settle down. But again, that is a Jaguars offense that went away from passing the ball. That's right. Trevor Lawrence, on 20 dropbacks, still had 193 passing yards. He was getting whatever he wanted in yards per attempt. Tanks Bigsby was getting whatever he wanted on the ground. Overall, this Jaguars run game.
Yep.
Jaguars were dominating at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
Tanks Bigsby, his first contact was coming beyond the line of scrimmage, breaking tackles. It was bad run fits. It was bad tackling. It was bad stops once again. It's been the same thing from this defense, not helping out at all.
Yeah.
And then again, I bring up how bad that rushing attack was. 1.6 yards per rush from the running backs today.
Yeah.
20 yards on 12 carries. Ramondre Stevenson traveled with the team. He practiced with the Patriots, but I didn't see him till after midway through the third quarter. So his foot must not be right.
Yep.
And it was a JaMychal Hasty show. But as we go through, and we're going to go good through bad on this one, we saw the glimpses, and what was great was the opening drive, of course, of what the Patriots put together.
Yep.
And that's what looked great. But beyond that, there was the first two drives. We saw a lot of success, over 130 yards of offense. Their next three drives before the half, 3 straight 3-and-outs, 19 total yards in 3 drives and 0 points. It went from scoring 10 points their first 2 drives to 0 the rest of the half and only finishing with 16 points in the game.
Yeah.
And you bring up that big punt return touchdown. Again, this is a team that's bad.
Yeah.
And they cannot afford to make mistakes like that, where you let up a 96-yard punt return touchdown. Now, normally someone wouldn't return it inside the 5. That's one of the dumbest things you can do. Well, guess what? You rewarded a dumb mistake by having dumb coverage yourselves,
Yeah.
and that's what bad teams do.
Yeah.
And that is a reflection, again, from the top to the bottom. That is poor. That is a poorly coached team.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Listen, and it goes back to what I was bringing up, where maybe I was giving Jerod Mayo and his staff too much credit, because generally with decent bad teams, meaning they are not bottom of the barrel, they're just having, the bounce isn't going their way, or they're really bad on one side of the ball, which I assume this team was. I just assumed offensively they'd be bad, but everything else would be buttoned up. Generally speaking, you can win, you can steal some games that you have no business winning at all if you are solid on the defensive end, if you don't turn the ball over, if you are very good on special teams, if you don't shoot yourself in the foot with dumb penalties. But this team can't do anything right now. And it's so clear to me. It's taken me a couple weeks here. If I had told you, because I didn't see this coming, if I had told you coming into this game, Drake May would have outplayed Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars still won, it just wouldn't have made sense. I mean, you almost, around here, we're programmed to think this offense is so bad, if you get anything from them, they should be able to win some of these games with good defense and so on and so forth. And it's just not the case. Nothing on this. If anything now, after the last few weeks here with Drake May, the offense is the strength of the damn team, because the defense has disappeared completely, and special teams, which have been the strength all season up until this point, George, absolutely crap in this game. So you're regressing in areas where you thought it would be your strength. You thought your defense would keep you in some of these games. They're regressing every week. You thought the special teams would be the strength of the team. They're regressing every week. You came into the season with your offense being absolutely trash. They're getting better because of the quarterback. So it's a mess, George. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's just it's like this team just stresses me out watching these games. They're boring as hell, and then they do, just the dumbest things that blow a game open when they're in the game. I mean, somehow it's a miracle that they're in these games. Even the Texans game, it took a while before it got out of control. This game, they were in it. One big play here, one big play there, breaks it wide open. It's just a mess. It's very frustrating to watch.
It was a 14-10 game before the Jaguars broke open that long punt.
They're in these games.
Hey, I would say it's not boring anymore, but that's all because of Drake May. But again, you bring in a rookie quarterback and you get that boost, and it could do so much to uplift, because this roster is so bad and so decimated. 7th different offensive line starting combination through 7 effing games. Think about that. Then early on into the game, they lose Layden Robinson, who was benched the last 2 weeks, but you put a rookie back in and move Mike Onwenu to right tackle, because you don't have Vidarian Lowe at left tackle. Sidney So steps in, and he's going to have his miscues. He's going to have his mistakes. That is a reality of how decimated this roster is for the Patriots and how bad they are. But again, second straight week of no run game, because there's no running lanes. There's no openings. Whether Ramondre Stevenson is in the game or not, the Patriots running backs have nothing to work with. And what I've said, what I liked last week from Alex Van Pelt, was there was play action. Drake May's second touchdown pass came on the play action of Hunter Henry. But you can't even do that, and you can't help your rookie quarterback if you're not running the ball, obviously, because you have to have that threat. It is just such a trickle-down effect, and every part of this team that is connected to the other is affecting it. if you can't get stops on defense. And I said it to you, this Patriots run defense worried me, right?
Yep.
I told you that because of what they let up against the Texans. What is going to win? What will win for opposing teams? Run the ball because you keep Drake May on the sideline.
Sure
and that is
did.
exactly what the Jaguars
Sure
did.
did.
They could have the comments and that's the Patriots defense stepping up when it did. But when the Jaguars had that, it was a 17 play. And the time of possession was over 11 minutes, but it ended on a turnover on downs.
Yeah.
But what were they doing? They were running the ball, and they were going to keep doing it, and it was the best thing for them. Even Trevor Lawrence dicing up the Patriots secondary, it didn't matter. That's what teams are continually going to do. And Tanks Bigsby is going to have a big day. And guess what? Now all the time I was talking about opposing pass rushes. Well, the Patriots are going to face Breece Hall. Then they're going to face Tony Pollard. Then they're going to face DeAndre Swift.
Yep.
Then they're going to face Kyron Williams. And these coaches that aren't that dumb, we can say what we want of Todd Downing, but it's still to be checked on him.
Yeah.
And you can say we want of Bill Callahan, but those are opponents that are just going to go, as good as we are at passing it, we're going to throw it because you guys stink. And we know your best player is your rookie quarterback.
Right.
And it's really easy to take him out of the game because we're just going to eat up the clock.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.